Hey there, welcome back to the Aligned and Unstoppable podcast. In this week's episode number 365, I'm with my friend Aycee Brown. We're talking about human design, astrology, numerology, and what's so fun about this week's episode is that we actually did this one live on Facebook. So if you don't already follow me on Facebook, this is a chance to go over there and follow. So if we do it again, you won't miss one. And we're sharing this episode on my YouTube channel. So I think it would be really fun if you are an audio podcast listener to scoot on over to my YouTube channel and watch us, because yes, there's lots of live interaction, but sometimes you just get to have a different feel when you're actually watching people. So this season on the Aligned and Unstoppable podcast, you're definitely going to see more of me. And I do mean that literally. You will see me more because I am doing my best to incorporate some more visual components so that you can watch me on video, because I know some people like that. So anyway, in this week's episode, Aycee gives some amazing tips on how to get the most out of 2022. It's been a 6-year. She talked about taking risks, really deepening who you are in your core values, checking out how you show up in like your relationship to people, your relationship to your business, your relationship to all the different things in your life. But I know I'm not doing it any justice, but I would love for you to check out this week's episode. And of course, leave us a comment below the video. Or if you are a listener of the audio podcast, take a screenshot right now and tag both me and Aycee in your Instagram stories. We always love to repost it and hear how it's made an impact on you. Lots of love to you. Thanks for listening. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure, yes, leave a comment and subscribe. Lots of love. Let's kind of start from the beginning. So I'm here with Aycee Brown. Aycee was a guest on my podcast on episode number 174, and this is episode number 365.
Wow.
I know. We've done a lot of podcasts. We have the weekly angels in your card, weekly angels in your biz card readings every Monday. So that adds an extra episode.
Okay.
But it's been a little while. And I was looking back, I had a reading with you back in 2020, I believe it was.
Oh my gosh. The year everything changed.
The year, right? I shouldn't even say that. Beep. We just like bleep that year out. But that was really monumental for me because I first found out about you. I was learning about human design, and I'm like, you know what? I just want to get a reading done. And I feel like it was so aligned to be able to connect with you. And your work is so profound. It really made a huge impact on me personally. And then in the last, I guess, 2 years now, almost 2 years,
Almost 2 years. Yeah.
yeah, I've had Aycee come in to do guest teaching in my masterminds, and every single time you've been in, people are blown away by you, and they're like, okay, she just gave me a mini reading in 5 minutes and gave me more information and insight than I've gotten in my whole life, or I've read books. And it's just that kind of depth that you bring, and that's why I love having you back. I love collaborating with you, and I feel like your work is getting even deeper and deeper.
It's deep. It's getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper.
It's so good. And I mean, that's a testament to the work that you're doing on yourself,
Yes, that's really what it is that I'm going deep. So it's showing up in the work, which is good because I'm all about transformation and healing and living your best life and doing the things that you desire. So I'm excited for sure about it, especially about the things that are to come and how I'm going to express that through the depth and through the healing that I've been working on myself personally, and to take others on that journey of embodying themselves.
Amen. And for those of you who aren't watching this video, I would highly recommend you do come back and check out the video, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube, to really just get into this energy with us even more deeply. So I'm going to allow you to introduce yourselves because I know probably whatever bio I had of you 2 years ago is beyond outdated and antiquated. So let's just start here and now today. Who are you today, Aycee?
Right. So I'm AC Brown, psychic channel and voice of truth. And I help you gain spiritual clarity, to spiritually empower yourself. And I do that through tools of human design, astrology, numerology, and what I call spiritual self-development. And so it's all about finding and following your spiritual North Star.
Mm, love it. And today we're going to dive in a bit to forecasting. We were talking about AC's got this incredible 2022 guide that we'll post the link. So if you want to get that guide, we'll be able to have that as a resource for you, because you do astrology, you do numerology, you do human design. These are all completely foreign topics for me, and that's okay. I don't need to know all the things. But that's
Right.
why I'm here. So you can tell me what the heck is going on. So
Well, I
um,
mean, we have tons of stuff going on. What you're referring to is, of course, the 2022 I call it personal year planning. It focuses, so in numerology, you have the universal year, which is a 6 year, that 222, and then you have your personal year, which is more personally affecting you. So, how I like to break it down is the universal year is the season. So, we're in winter right now, right? Everywhere is winter in the Western Hemisphere. Everything is winter. However, your personal year is the weather, because the weather is different where you live, where your location is. So, I am in the sea area. So right now it's raining. So the weather's different versus whoever's in California. The weather's different. So that's how you can distinguish. But what numerology does, and I infuse all of them together, numerology, human design, astrology, but how that helps you and helps us is the universal year is the energy that we are living in, and your personal year is the energy that you'll be experiencing this year. And how I infuse it with human design, it also, the personal year kind of matches up with your human design chart and which centers will be affected that year. But that's more about that in the ebook that I have in the guide. But of course, we can talk about the universal year 6, which is
yeah.
really, really important because we are in a 6 universal year this year. 6 is an interesting number. 6 is a foundational number, but what's really important is that 6 is the number that is ruled by Venus. And Venus, even though, and this is a perfect month to talk about it, Venus, it's love month, it's February. A lot of people associate Venus with just love and
Mm,
romance. But Venus is also the planet of values. It's the
mm,
planet of material things. It's the planet of values. It rules the second house, which is Taurus, and also the seventh house of Libra. So you have values of what you value, um, material things, relationships, all of that stuff, anything that you can think of when it comes to Taurus, because Taurus rules the second house. And then Libra, which rules the seventh house, is about relationships, your relationship to things, not just
mm,
your relationship with your partner or your business partner or your friends, but your relationship to things. So that's going to be a big overall theme for us. So
wow.
some of the 5, well, we'll stop there. Then I can go into some other
I was
stuff.
just thinking because we haven't caught up. We didn't have like a proper catching up
I know,
before we
right?
started
I'm just like,
recording. It's gonna just like you and me are just gonna hang out right now and just gonna anyway. So that it's interesting because before we started recording, I was saying how there's been a lot of changes within the business model, and it feels like we're building it from a different foundation. And just to hear you say foundation, it's very affirming. So thank you for that. But I feel like this is why I'm being pushed to do the work that I'm doing right now at this time. And it wasn't last year, and it's maybe not going to be the same next year. And I think it's really important that we look at the different patterns and cycles in our own personal lives.
mm-hmm,
And I think this is why your work is so powerful because, a lot of times we kind of feel like we're in a bubble experiencing things like just on our own, like, oh, it's just happening to me. But then when you kind of reach out to your community, you're like, oh, it's not just me. There's other people
Right.
going through a similar season. And I love that you called it that. That's so like it was kind of like a light bulb moment for me. It's like, oh, it's a season, but we have our different weather patterns where we live. So
Absolutely. And this is the perfect year for everyone to take risk. We are Jupiter, which is the planet of abundance and expansion, and some astrologers like to call it Santa Claus. But just because it's so expansive and so abundant, Jupiter's in Pisces right now. The last time I was in Pisces was 12 years ago. So just think back, then and how things were. So it'll be in Pisces from now until around May 10th, and then it goes into Aries, and then it goes retrograde into Pisces, and then back direct until the end of the year. However, Jupiter in Pisces is a very supportive energy. So if you think back also to last year around June,
mhm.
July area, like it was June. Think back to around June last year. Jupiter was in Pisces. So you got a little bit of a taste. So
Okay.
Jupiter in Pisces, Pisces, as you know, is a very dream-like state. It is very optimistic. It is very oh, I can do all things kind of. Sometimes, the rose-colored glasses feeling. However, when Jupiter, since it's in Pisces, what you can expect is this is the year to take risk.
Hmm.
So this is the year for you to feel expansive and say, you know what, I'm going to go for it this year. Because we're operating with Jupiter and Pisces, and then we have that universal year 6, it's going to be important for you to create the foundation that you want to see for the next few years. Because next year, the universal years are going to be in a 7, then an 8, then a 9. And so that's all about that 9-year cycle. So we're going into a very interesting time as a collective. So
Yeah.
for everyone watching and listening to this is the year to take risk and to set the tone for how you want things to be going forward with the universal energies. Then we also have our personal energy that we have to also take into consideration as well.
Yeah. So we said, oh, good. I feel like, yeah, big air right now. Yes, big air right now. I love that you said taking risks. I'm just going to be so selfish right now and just talk. Like, this is so helpful for me personally. I want to hear from you guys who are watching or listening, how it feels already for you, because it's very affirming. And it's also saying, like, okay, so we are setting the foundation for what's coming. And this is a really nice time if we've been feeling worried about making shifts, pivots, changes. I've also heard there's a lot of pivot happening for this year, that people are kind of whittling away with the things that don't serve them and support them. Things are no longer aligned to them, to really just narrow in. So maybe that's part of it, is kind of clearing the decks of the things that have not been working in the past, to drop down deeper into what you really want to do. And then with that, just kind of going for big air, like what Emily just said.
Oh no, absolutely. So here's the thing with Jupiter. So Saturn, our lovely friend, Saturn is still where it was. It's still in Aquarius. Okay. So Saturn, the planet of Saturn, wherever Saturn is in your natal chart, Saturn is like, I like to say Saturn is the guideline police. Like, are you following the guidelines? Right. So it's saying, okay, that's great. You have a huge, big vision, but are you doing proper steps to make sure that everything is intact? Jupiter and Pisces now is going to be like, oh, who cares about the guidelines? Let's just jump off of a cliff. Saturn's going to be like, no, are you going to be is somebody going to catch you? All of that. So it's not completely about taking risks, but you're going to, how can I put this? What Jupiter and Pisces is, you can jump off the cliff not knowing if you're going to be caught, and then there's a 50-50 chance that someone's going to catch you.
Okay.
So you got a 50-50 chance this year, 50-50 shot to figure it out. But the supportive energy of the 6 is saying, okay, since the 6 is about foundation, 6 is about what you value, make sure you're clear on that.
Mm,
Because, and that's probably what the shift is that everyone is feeling, that we're going into. What is happening is that we are realizing that what might be good for others might not be good for ourselves. And I think that's why with my work changing, my work is really about the embodiment of self and
Mhm.
using these tools to get to know yourself better and become completely 1000% honest with who you are. Because the more honest that you are with yourself, the easier it is for you to show up in your life, your business, etc. Because
Yeah.
what's happening and what has happened in the past is social media, as great as it is also a detriment because
Yeah.
we see other people's lives, we see other people's things, and we don't know their why they want those things. So we look at it and we're like, oh, that looks nice to have. But the why is not the same. So you start chasing things and you don't know what your clear why is because you don't know who you are. And then
Mm,
you're chasing something and then it's just not aligning, it's not adding up. And then you're like, why am I unhappy? I'm chasing, you know, 6-figure months and I don't even know why I'm doing it when the
right.
person who has them and who's talking about them, we don't know. Maybe they're supporting their whole family. Maybe
Yeah.
someone in their family is sick. So they have a different drive.
Mm,
So that's why it's really important this year for you to create a foundation for how you want the next few years to unravel.
that makes so much sense. And what's interesting, like as you're talking, I'm starting to taste a little bit of metal. And sometimes when I taste metal, it means that spirit's wanting to come in. But I'm not feeling like there's spirit wanting to come in to join in the conversation. I feel like the indicator is, wow, I'm only guessing. You must have been doing this work with spirit so deeply to be able to blend all these things together in such a beautiful way. I mean, it feels like just like the astrology and the human design, the numerology is just kind of like weaving together. Um, and I just feel like this infusion of spirit really like pulling you towards doing this work. I mean, this how did I mean this I guess is like a sidebar.
No,
AC, how
sidebar it up. What's your spirit saying? Trust me.
I'm just
Tell
so
me.
I think it's just so fascinating. It just feels so like drawn by spirit. Just like how was your experience putting all these things together? Because I mean, I don't know if you were doing this before, but it just feels like this process of I don't know what you call it,
It's
but
just more it's more aligned in the way that I can translate it.
yeah.
I've always been a person that was able to look at different modalities and say and fuse things together and
Mhm.
take one part that people didn't understand, one part that people didn't understand, and put it together and make it palatable, make it relatable, make it understandable. So
Yes.
for me, fusing all of them on top of the my channeling work, on top of the spiritual self-development work, me being a consultant, a coach, all of those things, it's just more merging into my own framework. I think that's what's happening
Yeah.
is that um it is coming into my own system and how I do things in process.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally resonate with that. It's interesting. A couple weeks ago, Spirit was like, oh, there's this modality. Well, a few months ago, it was like, there's this modality that's wanting to come through. I'm like, I'm making a modality. And it was a little bit overwhelming. And I'm like, stand by for modality loading. And I just was like, I don't know what to do with this. And what happened a few weeks ago was like, it kind of what you said is like there's these multitude of different things that you weave together already, and the way that you put it out there is your own unique brand in a way. And that's kind of what showed up for me just a couple weeks ago. And I think sometimes I'm too close to it to realize, oh, this is something that's unique to you. And I think this is very unique to you that you can be able to pull these things together. And so I'm really curious, how does human design come in with the astrology and the numerology? Because it's probably very individual, or is it kind of similar where if you have like, your main human design types, or is it really very specific for each
It's a
individual?
little bit of both. When it comes to the personal years, how I explain it in my e-guide, that I have in my book is each personal year is associated with a center. So
Gotcha.
what I've correlated is that you'll experience a that center, whether it's defined or undefined, you'll experience some themes there that you will, have to deal with during that personal year because we have the universal year and then you have your personal year, which how you get your personal year is you add up your month. day and then the number 6 because we're in a 6 universal year, and that's how you get your personal year. So, and
Okay.
you add it up individually. So, not if your birthday is like 110, you add 1 plus 10, you would add 1 plus 0 plus 6. So,
Yes.
and then that's how you get your personal year.
Okay. So I am 628. So that's 8 plus 2 is 10. So that's a 1 plus 6. That's 7 plus 6. So 13. So that's a 4.
Mhm. Yeah, so then you're in a 4
Okay.
personal year. So, with you being in a 4 personal year,
Just the math,
I
you
like
guys.
to s I like to say the 4 personal year is the do you have your shit together year, because it is going to give you the opportunity to move forward and to do things. However, you cannot pass go until you have all your ducks in a row.
Hmm.
So, just know that yes, you're building a foundation. Yes, you're building support, all of that stuff. But if you want to continue on, you have to have things together.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We're we're
So,
we're doing we literally today had this meeting on just one facet of the business, which was the podcast and the standard operating procedures. Like a meeting on SOPs. Like who does that? Apparently I do now. So that's good. I'm checking boxes,
no,
getting
you're checking boxes. It's good. Year 4 is can be challenging. So, but you have a team. So
yes.
that's good.
Yeah.
You have a team. And I see a comment. So yes, you did add the month, the day plus 6. And you break
Yes.
that down into single digits. However, if the numbers add up to an 11, 22, or 33, you don't add them together. You'll just be an 11/2 year, a
Okay.
22/4 year, a 33/6 year.
Cool. This is amazing. I'm going to post the link in the comments here as I have the link to your guide.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's all explained in my guide. And the guide is more in depth. It goes over the universal year. And then for your personal year, it breaks down each personal year and then what you can expect this year for love, for business and career, for travel and health, as well as do's and don'ts, as well as how to correlate it for each of your aura types and for your human design chart.
mhm.
So it's about 80 pages. So it's really in depth.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot. So there's the link, you guys. It's in the comments here on the Facebook post. When we replay this, it'll be in the show notes, and you can check that out on the website. Purchasing now, great, Vanessa. That's one of my good.
Awesome.
Vanessa.
Hey, Vanessa. I see somebody say I'm an 11 year. So 11, 2 year is a very good year. It's some people call it the fame year.
Oh.
I know a lot of people who gotten a lot of recognition there in their industry in the 11 year, because the 2 is about partnerships. It's about relationships. So the 11/2 year is sort of like a heightened 2 year. So many people get famous in their 11 year, 11/2 year, or get very well known or recognized in their industry. So that's a
Ooh.
really, really good year.
Go
And someone said,
Nikki.
I'm year 3. Okay, good. Year 3. That year 3 is fun. It's creative. It's really, really exciting. Um, doing things that are, just really having fun, tapping into your inner child. So,
Yeah.
oh, I just rebranded my business. That's awesome. So that's
Yay.
good.
Yeah, and Vanessa is certainly doing that. She's definitely playing, having more fun. She's getting into her creativity, doing new projects. Yep.
Good. Oh, year 9. I just left a year 9. Good luck, Shelby. may, may the odds be in your favor. No. So the year 9 is just a really slow year. It is a very eye-opening year. You're just going to have to really clear out some things. By the end of the year, you will be clear on who you are and what you want. So I just finished my year 9. I'm starting a new 9-year cycle. So I'm in a year 1. So it's just like, yay, new
Ooh,
energy.
you made it.
I made it. Right. Exactly.
But I mean, that also says kind of what we were saying at the beginning of how much how deep your work it really is right now. Like it's just so there's like a silver lining there. Like good luck, but
Oh,
also
yeah. It's everything's a silver lining. We're always working towards something. So I think that's what we fail to forget is that there's always something that we are inching to. And I think as small business owners, solopreneurs, however, whatever you want to call yourself, a freelancer, whatever, maybe you work full time still and you have, your business on the side. It's all leading up to something. Nothing happens overnight. There was a time where I was working full time and then I had to come home and work on my business, all of those things. So it's not going to happen overnight. Sometimes it does, but it's not really. I think what we fail to realize is that, it's true. An overnight success takes 10 years because especially me as a projector, those moments that come are like, when they come, they're big. And then,
yeah,
but people don't realize is that you've been inching away year after year after year after year,
yeah,
prior to. So as far as the work getting deep, it's because, I can only go as deep as I'm willing to go for myself.
yeah,
So once I went deep, it was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. Things are clicking now. Now I can go, now I can show the world. Oh, okay. So it's really important for us, if you're doing this type of work in the spiritual realm and the wellness realm, that the more you work on yourself, the easier it's going to be for you to attract your ideal client, for you to attract people. And so what I've realized is that, do business courses work? Do business coaches work? Yes. But what I know for sure, they only work are effective, but when you know yourself. If you don't know yourself, you're going to be course after course. So that's where I'm going into teaching people about themselves. And
yes,
that's where you will see the results in your business, in your life, in your relationships. Because the more you have a clear understanding and confidence of who you are, the easier it's going to be for you to show up. So does that
yeah,
mean you'll never, after working with me, you'll never do a business course? No. But when you do that business course, you will understand why you're doing it, what
right,
you're getting out of it. You're not trying to mimic the person's success. You might say, oh, I want to join their program because I like their systems. Let me see how their systems operate. Or I want to learn an actual skill, not I want to tether onto them to get their energy so I can mirror what they're doing, because
right,
that's going to be inauthentic for you.
right. And
So
inevitably it doesn't work anyway because
it's not going to work.
they're on their life path. You try to be them and you're like, I'm a failure. I cannot be like them. Well, you're not supposed to be like them. And
Right, right. So if anything, my work is about gaining spiritual empowerment and clarity to make you become the best version of yourself. So
yeah,
you can go out into the world and that you can, make the choice and then change.
yeah. And this is the paradigm shift because that old model has, I think, just sort of died. And this is more of a divine feminine model of really deepening who you are in your authentic self. Who are you on your life path? What is your soul's work? How do you express that? And there's a different type of feeling that happens when you show up in that way, really deeply knowing yourself and who you attract this, when you show up that way is so much better too.
Right.
um I mean, I'm preaching that all the time, and lately I've been really geeking out about energy systems and really teaching people a bit more about what are your energy systems and how does stress, anxiety, overwhelm,
Oh my God. It's so important.
right? Because a lot of times people don't know. And it's like the thing is like hearing you talk, it's like this work is so obvious and so easy for you. And I'm just like, oh, I don't know any of these words. And I lean in. And I feel like the same goes for energy systems where I've been doing it for so long. I feel like everybody knows about this stuff. But what I'm realizing that most people don't. And most people have no idea how to manage their stress, especially entrepreneurs who are constantly bombarded with different levels of stress and launch trauma and how that affects your system, not just
Listen, the nervous system is the key to our success. We
yeah,
don't, with doing my deepness and showing other people, we don't realize how much the nervous system plays a part into why we are wwhere we are or where we're not.
yeah,
We have to understand that we are literally trying to keep ourselves what there's two things that we're doing. We're trying to keep ourselves safe and we're trying to fight for what we believe in. So
Mm,
if our beliefs are off and not in alignment, your body is going to do whatever it can to keep your beliefs. So if you believe that you can't make money in your sleep, guess what your body's going to do? It's not going to let you make money in your sleep.
mhm.
Every time you launch, every time you put something out there, you'll never do it. If sex success for you is unsafe because you're
Yeah.
used to being in struggle, if you're used to surviving, when you're trying to be successful, your body's going to be like, "Oh hell no.
Mhm.
This
Yeah.
ain't right.
Mhm.
We're not supposed to be doing this."
Right.
So, we have to that's why getting to know who you are, finding home in your body is the most important thing, and then the success happens. Then it comes
Mhm.
because we were doing it from the outside first, like, "Oh, okay. Like, let me go ahead and join this course. Let me." I mean, we all do it. We've all, and there's nothing wrong with it. The people that we learn from, they actually know what they're doing. All of those things, not discrediting anyone, but however, we have to take accountability for when we're showing up and placing these huge expectations on these programs, on coaches and things like that, and we're not learning about ourselves.
Right.
So that's the work that I'm out here doing now is let me teach you about you.
Yeah.
So when you go out in the world, when you're launching, when you're doing a business, all of that stuff, you can do it in a way that serves you, that you actually like, you know what, that's not what I want.
Mm.
A lot of people don't even know what they want.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like human design is becoming a bit more popularized lately. I've noticed more and more people talking about their human design type and how they need to function in their business or out in the world. And
Mhm.
I love that. I think that it's like coming up to the surface for people to really dive into that more. So, do you want to dive in a little bit to the human design types, or does it make sense to share a little bit about them, um, and how they impact the year, or what works best for this?
Well, what I want people to know is that in all of these modalities, they are 80% accurate. But what we need to start really focusing on is the 20%, which is our socioeconomic status, the way we were raised, our trauma, all of those things that we bring to this that some people bypass. You can't bypass it anymore because that makes sometimes that outweighs the 80% because of
Mm,
those things. So we in the work that I do is infusing both is you understanding the 20% enough to receive the 80%,
mm,
because the 80% of, your chart, all of those things is like, okay, this is who you are, but then that 20% of you is like, but wait, that's not my experience.
right.
So it's about acknowledging your experience, acknowledging those things, and then saying, "Oh, I'm ready to receive a different way of doing things. I'm ready to receive a different way of going about stuff." Because I think that's what happens when people come into human design and they find it. It's such a shock. It's like, wait, that's the way I'm supposed to be, but that's not how I am taught. So when we talk
Yeah.
about the human design types, there's 5 types. You have your generator family, manifesting generators, and you guys are here to respond then act. And then you
Mm,
have projectors like myself. We're here to be invited, to be seen, and then guide,
mm,
and then act. And then you have manifestors who are here to inform and then act. And then you have reflectors who are here to wait a moon cycle or 28 days and then act. So in the grand scheme of things, that makes sense. It works. But what happens if you are a generator and you grew up in an environment that you weren't allowed to respond?
mm,
Or if you're a manifester and your voice was never heard? Or if you're a projector and you don't value yourself and you were never seen?
mm.
So the concept is great. It works, it's truth, but now you have to kind of reprogram and re-identify who you are through these systems based
Yes.
off of where you come from.
Yes. And I'm sure it impacts from the family you grew up with and what maybe human design type they are and they how they functioned and how they interacted with you and your type. I mean, I know your family is so awakened and like forward thinking. Did
They're still pains in the ass.
Okay, great.
So they're still my it's so funny. When was it? Was it Christmas? My, cousin and my aunt, his mom called me. And they were like, "So what year am I gonna be in again?" Because they, follow me on Instagram. And what personal year am I gonna be in again? And then I'm giving them like on the phone, and my mom's like, can I get a reading? I'm like, no, leave me alone. So even though everybody's aware, it's still like, the awareness is great, but you still have to be. And
Yes.
so that's kind of the missing piece. A lot of people are not being. You
Mm,
the awareness is great. And what we're doing is we're doing a lot of information gathering,
mm,
and we're information gathering on doing the wrong thing. We need to be studying ourselves. If you're going
mm.
to information gather, study yourself first,
Yeah.
and then let you be, and then let that shine and radiate.
Mm,
Some people like, oh, I want to learn human design. I want to read charts and things. No problem. You can do that. People think I've been doing this for 10 years. So, well, 11 now. So the beginnings was just me about learning myself, and I still had problems, I
mm.
still wasn't doing, not necessarily doing it right, but I still was learning. So
Yes.
you can still learn, but you just have to make sure that you're absorbing information and using it, and so you're being.
Mm. I I've said to you a couple of years ago, I said I wanted to get my both of my kids' charts done, and I still do. I think that it can be really impactful as a parent to
Oh,
understand.
absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to be able to obviously, I think every parent wants to do the best that they can by their kids, but I feel like that's a whole nother level is to really understand them, their charts, how they interact, like what would be helpful for them, what's not so helpful for them,
It's
and
so if my parents had human design, oh my god, I probably wouldn't even be talking to you right now.
just
I'd
be
be on a
off in
yacht
the land
somewhere.
and like,
Right, exactly. I'd be on
enlightened,
a
done.
yacht somewhere. Like, I'm good. I'd be retired.
I like that. Are you still doing individual readings or do you do
Yeah,
no?
but I call them voice of truth sessions, because it's a combination of all of it. So it's me, my guides, me channeling if that's needed. But I do use human design as the baseline to see some things, and then we let spirit take over, and then we go from there.
Love it. Sounds like I need to book another session.
Yeah, that is in my Instagram link. Or if you don't see, it's not on my website, you can reach out to me through my website, and I can send you the link for that.
Okay, wonderful. And anybody who's here with us live, if you have questions for AC around whether it's navigating in your business this year or a personal question. I know some people were posting their personal year numbers in here and your
Yeah, I
exact
see.
little bit. That was kind of fun. There are some other numbers here that
Oh,
um,
somebody's in the 8 year. That's a good year. That was a good year. That was a good 8 years are good years. No, 8 years are powerful years. 7 years are very, very inner work. It's about the inner self. So somebody said
okay.
my daughter's a projector in a house full of manifesting generators. Poor baby. Oh. So it's
Oh,
helpful to know that she's gonna need a lot of alone time. Don't force her to be a part of the group. If she wants to do things on her own, or if she wants to be alone, let her, because the energy is very strong and it's very overwhelming for her. So and also try to let her do things away from the pack. Like, oh, if she wants to go, maybe just go out with you, let her do that. Or if she wants to do things on her own. What was helpful for me, because both of my parents were generators, like I would have my mom, oh, I mean, she might, I don't know if your daughter's old enough, but and now you can't do that. But my mom would drop me off at Barnes and Nobles, and I would just be there for hours, and then she would just pick me up. So that kind of thing.
that's a nice thing to do, actually. I think my parents didn't drop me off, but they would go and I would just disappear into like the spiritual
No,
section.
yeah, like my job. Yeah, that's me. Drop me off. Just go and drop
Yeah,
me off. I'll be back. Like she'll be like, okay, I'll come back.
I love that. So, anybody have any questions for Aycee while she's here with us live? Of course, if you're watching the replay, you can post a question in the comments or send us a DM. We love hearing from you. Um, are you at Aycee Brown on Instagram?
Yes, it's only one. You will, if you follow me, you will get, there's tons of fake accounts. Yeah, sorry. That's all I can say.
Yeah, it's been a thing. I had it like for a while. There was like 6 in a row, and I've seen you've had these fake accounts.
They every week, every week, every week. It's so annoying. It's just one Aycee Brown, Aycee Brown. That's it. Just one. And I don't only follow because what I did is I unfollowed every single person because it was so annoying. So people can see I don't follow anyone. Then I just started following people back. I still follow only like 21 people. So I'm like inching up there. It's gonna be less. So because I don't want people to get confused, all of that. So someone said I always know my socioeconomic state is what holds me back without knowing. I'm a manifester. Is there a helpful approach to break free from never being heard mindset? I would say that you, Bobby, you would just have to practice on informing and not informing for permission, but informing to let people know what's going to happen next. So just remember that you are just here to inform and let people know what's going to happen next. Oh, thanks guys for posting the
I was just gonna
Instagram.
say, thank
Thank
you.
you, thank you.
People
And
are so
Lacey said
generous with links. I love it.
2 plus 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, that's a 7. Yeah, Lacey, you're in a 7 year.
I had to do math live, you guys, and
Yeah, I just fingered counted. So this is easy.
you
Yeah,
have to do
7 years about inner work. 7 years about inner work.
and you said
All
8
about
was
inner work.
8 was a
8
really
is a
good.
powerful year. It's about personal power. 8 goes very fast. It's about acceleration. It goes like it starts off slow and then all of a sudden it's like it just goes really, really fast.
Ooh, I
And then
love
the
that.
9 year kind of slows down. The 1 year, of course, is new beginnings. Number 2 year is about partnerships and relationships. 3 is about creativity. 4 is about foundations as well, and getting your shit together. 5 is fun, little bit off, all over the place. 6 is about foundations as well and values. 7 is inner work. 8 is personal power. 9 is completion. So yeah,
Amazing.
I'm a. Oh,
60
you're
of
on
Gen.
your Pluto line. Wow. Okay.
Why?
What am I-
What app did I choose?
Listen, I don't know either. I'm not sure either why you chose that. I don't know too much about the Pluto line, but yeah, sounds like a lot. Um,
This
yeah.
is like a foreign language to me, so I don't even know what is a
Well,
Pluto
that's
line.
astrocartography. So every planet has an astrological like latitude and longitude. So when you're living on them, you have that planetary influence.
Yes, yes.
So yeah, so
All
that's
right.
it.
That's right. Mary, you've been doing more and more of that lately. She's been doing some astrology with all kinds of other stuff with herbs and foods and interesting
Yeah,
things.
well, it's funny. I'm moving to my Neptune AC line, so I'm not revealing yet where I'm moving to, but I'm out of here. So I'm excited because Neptune is about spirituality and growth. So I'm very, very excited. And I
And
have some Jupiter influences too there. So yay.
and when do you move?
What's today?
Uh,
Third.
third.
So what's that? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So 15 days on the 18th.
Okay.
Like 15 days.
Later this month, I would have gone with that
Yes. Yeah.
specific to the day.
I know I'm like counting
The
down
time,
15 days.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's great.
15 days.
So how do we find our what is it called?
So
The
you can go to astro.com and you can look on it's called location chart or something, and then you can put it in do the whole sign, and then for tropical, and then it'll show you, and then they have like a little thing, or if you go to erinrogers.io,
Mhm.
that's my friend Erin. She does wonderful energy work and astrocartography stuff, but she's really good at it, and she knows human design helps as well. But I'm always going to her and like, I need to know where I'm living, where I'm gonna move to, and
I
so
need
she also does stuff with that too. So yeah, Erin Rogers, yeah, ERIN Rogers.io. That's her Instagram,
okay.
and she does astrocartography sessions and stuff, and
Very.
yeah.
There's a last question here. It says, I have a gate 48. This is already, I'm like, you lost me.
I have gate 48. So the not worthing thing isn't going away. And I am a solid generator, throat connected by 31/7. Any ideas for words on why I'm not allowing myself to get out there in my business? I mean, if you have 31/7, gate 48, like that, gate 48 is not, that's about depth. That's about you knowing a lot. And then gate 31 is amazing. I call that the John Gotti gate, because it's about influence, but it's about influence that you don't seek out for yourself. The reason why I call it the John Gotti gate, and hopefully by May, my gate thing that I've been working on for like 5 years is going to come out. Hopefully I
Oh.
can get that together, but I have a big gate thing. But Gate 31 is all about influence that you don't seek out. And the reason why I call it the John Gotti Gate is because, John Gotti was just, pretty much a lieutenant in the Gambino crime family. And he was doing some things he wasn't supposed to do. So he decided to take, the head boss out. And then after that happened, they appointed him the head of the Gambino crime family. So it's a leadership that you don't have to seek out. You just have to show up and show your worth, show your value, show who you are. And then in your industry, whatever it is, your community will appoint you as leader. And so you have to wait for that.
Hmm.
So I love that. I love that gate 31.
So how does that, I mean, so it doesn't really tie into unworthiness, does it really? Doesn't sound like.
No,
Okay.
gate 48 has not, in my opinion, has nothing to do with unworthy. It's about depth of knowledge and you seeking tons of things and not feeling like you know enough. So it's someone who has multiple degrees, multiple certifications, that kind of thing.
Mm, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's close this up. Any like pieces of advice for entrepreneurs? You said take risks this year.
Mm-hmm.
Any other pieces of advice that you feel would be helpful to guide people to have a smooth year, a successful year, a joyful year ahead?
I would say take risk. Also, make sure that you are really focusing on what you value.
Mhm.
What do you value in your relationships? What do you value in your friendships? What do you value with your business? Like literally write down a day in the life of what you want to do and then figure out how you can make that happen.
Mm,
And then also, too, be ready to open to receive, to ask for help, to receive help. And another thing I would say is for this year is to really think about, like I said, how you want your next years to turn out. Like what foundations, what seeds do you want to plant this year that you want to grow? Like
mm.
really just fast over the next couple of years.
Love it. Thank you so much, AC. It's
No,
just
you're welcome.
always great to see you. You always offer such great insights. Um, Vanessa has already got your 2022
Yay, Vanessa.
pie, and she got it along with your aura affirmations. Yes.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
good. I'm going to drop the link again here for anybody who's just joining. Just if you wanted to get what Vanessa just got hooked up with, and it's Aycee said it's 80 pages long, so it's quite in depth.
Yes. And you can also, I mean, even though it's geared for this, reflecting this personal year 6, you can use it for next year too, for the personal years, to get an idea of how it's going to be for you, even though it's for like the universal year 6. I mean,
Yeah,
based off of that, you can probably use it again for next year. So I'm going to be also creating individual personal year guides as
yeah.
well, that you can just have for those personal years.
Perfect. So, you guys, you can get that personal year guide, and also Aycee at Aycee Brown on Instagram. You can DM her if you want to do a personal session, which I personally recommend for yourself and or for family members that you want to know a lot more
I've had a
about.
lot of I've had a lot of people gift sessions this year. Well,
Oh
last year, like, and then yeah, it was like, oh, I gotta have such and such, and they just like, and so I have a process for that. But yeah, I'll have a lot of people gift sessions. Yeah, so it's
wow, I love.
interesting.
That's actually something I like to do for my team members is gift them healing sessions or readings because I mean, it benefits them
It
directly.
helps. It helps. It helps.
Ah,
It definitely helps. And anytime that you've worked with me in your mastermind, and I do a lot of corporate communication through human design. So,
yeah.
you know, definitely. I love working with corporations and their teams and how to like communicate more effectively.
Yeah, so powerful. So if you have a corporation, you work for a big business, you have a business, you want to have AC come and do classes for you, of course, just reach out. We'll have all of our contact information. And thank you all for being with us live. I haven't done a live podcast for quite a while, and it's definitely fun to see these questions and interact. And I love
Right.
that just like off the top of your head, like this is this kind of a year. That's what this means. And a 48, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't even know what this means. And look at her go. Okay. Amazing. You're incredible. Thank you for coming back on the podcast. And thank you for spending this time with all of us. It's been a real gift. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me.
My pleasure. All right, you all. Thank you for being here. I'll see you soon.